on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for Queen's Court, y'all. This is season 2. We're on episode 2. I know I'm late, y'all. And first of all, I want to say this. I did not know originally that they dropped all the episodes of Queen's Court at one time until all of y'all started telling me you've seen the whole series. And I was like, what? How y'all see the whole series? Come to find out, they dropped the whole entire season at one time. They kind of do it like, I guess how Netflix does it. No, that actually more than Netflix, they drop them all at one time. But I only really can watch one a week because I got so many shows I'm doing. It's hard for me to watch a lot of episodes at once. I hope y'all stick with me. I know some of you have already seen the whole show. A couple of times along the way, I'll try to watch a couple of episodes. I was going to try to watch a couple this past weekend, but I had just too much going on, y'all. I was throwing birthday parties for my sister. She had a big birthday. We did it at my house, so there was a lot going on here at my house. But I do want to say that I watched the episode number 2. And before we get started, please don't forget to like the video, y'all. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And for sure, if you're here for the live chat, if you happen to make it, say hi to me down in the live chat. And if not, drop down in the comments and say hello. I'm a little bit behind in my comments, but I'm going to catch up. Like I told y'all, I had a busy weekend. But first of all, let's talk about the episode, what went on. We picked back up on episode 2 for those of you who are past this. This is when Lisa Ray confronted her sister, not her sister, her daughter on what she learned from Norman. And about her daughter not having the baby when she got pregnant with Norman and deciding to not have the baby. And the daughter was like, she paused for a minute and she goes, yep, it was 11 years ago. 11 years ago. And she said she didn't want to tell her mom. She said that she was somewhat embarrassed. She didn't want to tell her. And it sounds as if 11 years ago, they had a different type of relationship. And it doesn't sound like a different one in a good way. It sounds like as her daughter got older, and now her daughter has a child, a granddaughter for Lisa Ray now, their relationship changed because the mother learned what it was to be a mother, and she could relate to her own mother a little bit more. So it sounds like they're in a better place. This was 11 years ago. Like I said, I remember seeing Lisa Ray on Iyanla Fix My Life, and I remember them having a whole lot of mother-daughter issues, and I remember Lisa Ray having a lot of mother-daughter issues with her own mother. But I do think it was a little bit of a sad moment for Lisa Ray because it made her realize that there was a time when her daughter probably could have used her, and she wasn't the one that her daughter came to. So I thought I saw a little bit of a tear in her eye knowing that her daughter had to go through that secretly by herself. I'm sure the daughter had girlfriends she spoke to, but as a mother, I'm sure Lisa Ray probably would have wanted to be there for her. But they started moving on. They decided, hey, they're going to have this next round of men come in. And the way they're going to meet these next round of men is they're going to blindfold the women. And then they're going to do the bachata with these men just to see how these men move their hips, just to see how these men grab them, see how these men lead them around the room. So Lisa Ray had a good little dancing move with this, one of the guys. His name was Adam. He's 40 years old from the Dominican. You know, I don't know what it is about pairing up much older women with younger men. I mean, yeah, we know the whole Kris Jenner thing, Kris Jenner and Corey. It happens. But does it happen a lot? No, not really. Not really. I mean, and when I say older, I don't mean older by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I'm talking about Lisa Ray is 57 and this guy is 40. So I don't know. That's a big difference. And like Lisa Ray says later on, I'm not no sugar mama and I'm not here to teach nobody. So as a result, I don't really think Lisa Ray is going to be interested in a man who's 40 years old, darn near 17 years younger than her. I just don't think it's going to happen. But she had fun dancing with them. She sure did. She had fun dancing with them. So did the other ladies, Delicious, K. Michelle. They all was having a good time dancing with all the men, trying to feel all over their bodies and face. Because remember, they're blindfolded, so they don't know what these men look like. And the men can't really see them that much because the blindfolds are even covering up a lot of their faces. So a lot of it is trying to make them, hey, let's see how you choose between seeing someone visually versus maybe, I guess, feeling someone in your space. And London was there. London was, leading with her sex appeal again. The one thing about London is she complains about men only wanting her for her sex appeal, but it's also what she leads with. I always find that strange when women feel that men overly sexualize them, but yet their attire is very, very always so very, very sexy. I mean, I think Delicious has had some surgeries on her body. I could be wrong. It could be all natural. Y'all can let me know. But it looks like she's had some surgeries, maybe some lip injections, maybe some breast, maybe some butt. I don't know. Maybe she had a version of the BBL. That's what it looks like to me. So I always find it odd when women go above and beyond to build a body in which I suppose they're doing it for men, because that's what they think men like. But then when the men notice it or look at it, then they're kind of upset about it. Later on, we see that London has like this really immense physical chemistry attraction with this guy, Dr. Elam. Remember, I told y'all I saw Dr. Elam on Pop the Balloon, and I remember that I didn't quite like him that much, but I couldn't remember why. But this episode, I really realized how much reason why I don't like him. He really is a lot about trying to act like he's so intelligent, which I'm sure he is. He's a whole doctor. He's an oral surgeon. He's intelligent. So I don't want to say he's trying to pretend, but I always feel like he definitely comes off like the player vibes. And he definitely was all about the lust with London, all about the lust with London. And it was interesting to see how she still kind of held on to him a little bit. In the end, she sends him home. She does send him home. But she flirted with him. She entertained him. She went so far with him. And I think that if she were in the real world, this would be the guy she would end up sleeping with. She would end up sleeping with him because she even lets him in her world. The one thing when you're trying to, have new habits in dating, you can't even let him in the door. You see what London does is she lets him in the door, let him come in, have a seat. And then what she does is she decides, let me try to resist this man. But sometimes that's too late. By the time you let him in the door, he's in your living room, he's having a cocktail, then he's really turned on the charm. It's harder for you to resist. And I think what London needs to do in dating is, one is she's got to resist that sooner. And I think she's got to also take some responsibility for the way that men approach her, because a lot of men do look at her probably and like her body is here for my entertainment. I mean, when you go out and you create a whole body for men, why wouldn't a man think you did all this for me? So yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. And I know women say, well, I didn't do it for a man. I didn't do it for a man. You may not have done it for a man, but you've done it. You've done something to yourself that a lot of men like. So you might have done it for yourself, but you also know a lot of men like it. So it's very easy for a man to think that you've done it for them. But it may not have been your intentions. But sometimes, what's the old saying? Perception is reality. Unfortunately, perception can be reality, because even if they perceived you wrong, that's the way they're going to treat you in reality. So you also have to always think to yourself, what message are you sending? Even though it may not be your intentions, right? You're one person in the world. So you have your intentions. You're the one person. But there are millions of people in the world that can view your intentions differently. You just got to decide, are you going to be the person who always does things that are contrary to what other people's opinions are? For instance, it may not be your intentions, but this is how people perceive it. Some people don't think they're rude. They go, wasn't my intention to be rude, but everybody else sees you as rude. So that's the way you're perceived, as a rude person. So you may dress sexy, provocative. You may dress like when people think your body is for entertainment, and you say, well, that wasn't my intention. Well, that's fine. That's not what your intention, but that's the perception. Now you can keep dressing like that because we all have free will. But then what you can't do is you can't say, I want to keep doing what I want to do, but I want everybody to always perceive me differently. Sorry, you don't get to control how people perceive you. You don't. And so what London has to realize is that she has this body and she dresses a way in which she could be perceived a certain kind of way. And that's the type of men she's going to attract. Not only is she talking to Dr. Elam, she's talking to this other guy, Chris, who all he talks about all the time is having fun, having fun, having fun. He's the guy that last week said he got rid of a whole girlfriend because his girlfriend didn't have any other friends. Sounds like he wanted to go have fun with his boys, and she probably was saying, well, when are you and I going to have fun together? And he's probably like, well, don't you have any friends to go out with? Fun, 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 the good time guy. He probably want to have a good time with Delicious's body. He's a fun guy. He said it so many times. Every time they talk about what do you like? What do you like to do? Fun, 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 fun. Is there any serious side to you? Because let me tell you, relationships are not always fun all the time. People got normal lives. They got kids to take care of. They got jobs to go to. They got houses to clean, duties to do, errands to run. None of this is fun. Fun is sprinkled in magically into some of the things we have to do in life. So someone who's always focused on fun, 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 those people are probably going to always struggle in relationships, because relationships aren't always about fun. And if your mindset is, I just want to have a good time all the time. No, what you got to learn how to do is learn how to laugh and have a good time, even when things are normal and mundane. Because sometimes work is mundane, work is normal, life at home, keeping kids is routine. There's a lot of routines in life that if people do not embrace routines and find joy sometimes in doing those types of things, they're going to be unhappy in life, because they're always looking for the next mountaintop, the next emotional high. They're just chasing fun out here. And the minute anything serious comes into a relationship, they're going to be out the door because, oh, this is not what I want. I just want to have a good time all the time. Well, can we laugh and clean up the house? Can we turn on some music, laugh and dance and clean up the house at the same time? That's the type of thing you want. Can we do a lot of things? Wash dishes, have playfulness washing dishes, have a good conversations. How can we integrate fun into our life even when we're doing the normal things like going to work? Can't you go to work and be cheerful and laugh with your coworkers? You're still getting work done. You're still getting paid. You're still doing a routine or whatever you're doing, but you can enjoy it. Life ain't Disneyland. So I'm really apprehensive of a person who always walks around talking about, I want a partner that I can just have fun with all the time. No. Pass. I would pass. Pass people on anyone walking around talking all the time about, I just want a partner that I want to have fun with. Well, then you need to just keep dating. Just keep dating, because you can't always have fun all the time with your partners. But Delicious over here rubbing up with Dr. Elam. Later on, they go and have this body butter rubbed all over them. They rub it on all each other's bodies all the time. She's already taken her relationships to a sort of a physical thing. She got Zach over here rubbing body butter on her. She rubbing body butter on Dr. Elam. But then she wants to talk about the man that she's attracts and wants and is attracted to her. She's creating a lot of this. She is creating a lot of this. And what is going on with this little war between K. Michelle and London over this guy, Zach? For real? Is this just for TV, y'all? It's just for TV. Are we really talking about London and K. Michelle fighting over this man, Zach? I can't believe it. I just don't want to believe it. And the funny thing this episode was K. Michelle really showed me something about herself, because K. Michelle basically had dumped Zach. She put him on the chopping blocks last week. She threw out the trash. London came over here, dug through the trash, did a dumpster dive, said, you don't want Zach no more? Well, I'm going to pull him out the trash and revive him. She saved Zach from last time. She pulled him out the trash, cleaned him off a little bit, dusted him off and said, come on over here. Let's you and I start dating. And now all of a sudden, K. Michelle got a problem. What, K. Michelle? You didn't want him. So now what you're upset about is the fact that he switched from you to now all of a sudden pushing up on London too. K. Michelle, that told me something about you. That really told, there's some pettiness in K. Michelle when she did that. Because if you really didn't like Zach and you cut him loose, why should you care that someone picked up your garbage? Why should you care? So much so that you then decide you're going to go back and start luring him away and start trying to play some psychological game with him. I didn't like that when K. Michelle did that. I thought that was petty and immature. I thought, okay, K. Michelle, we talk about this new level you're supposed to be elevating to. That ain't no new level. That's a lower level. That is a lower level. But yes, she's kind of still talking out two sides of her mouth. She gets the guy, she brings Zach over and says, hey, well, I just want to let you know, as long as you're interested in London and a man shows an interest in another woman, I don't want to have nothing to do with him. Okay, that's fine, K. Michelle. So why are you still inviting him on dates? Why are you still kind of low-key mad at London over it? You saying one thing, but you're kind of doing another thing. It's giving me petty, K. Michelle. It's actually giving me petty. But I don't get the traction of Zach. I don't get it one bit. He's over here talking about he feels like he don't belong here. It's almost like London is the princess and he's the little pauper. But get out of here. I don't know. I don't really know what these women are thinking with Zach, but I feel like this is for TV. I'm starting to feel like this is a little bit for TV. When London's on one of her dates, they were asking her, what's the most spontaneous thing you did? And she said, well, you know, I got engaged in 4 weeks and I also got married within 6 months. And based on the way that I see London dating out here, it was probably all pure lust. Pure lust. I bet they had enormous physical attraction and that's what drove them to get married. Because she moves to the physical level very, very fast. Very, very fast. Somebody rubbing body butter all over you this fast with a bunch of men. It's too many men right now to letting them rub body butter all over you and you rubbing body butter all over they darn near naked bodies. Dr. Elon was taking his whole shirt off. Did he even have on underwear? Too much, London, too much. If you want to see change in other people, you got to be the first to change. Let me tell you, you got to be the first to change. I always tell people, you want someone to stop arguing? I stop arguing with them. Stop talking. The minute you take the first steps, it starts to set the precedence for other people. People like London want to do is, no, I want to keep doing what I'm doing, leading with all this sex appeal, but I just want men to be looking deeper at me. Girl, they ain't getting past them butt and that booty. They ain't getting past it. They ain't not getting past it. Now, Lisa Ray, she out here dating too. Lisa Ray still got that stern personality. Boy, oh boy, she still got that stern personality. I mean, I think everybody along their life, they got to be able to be flexible and adjust their techniques. And I think this is anywhere in life. It's just not dating. It's even at work. It's about communication. Lisa Ray's communication, I want to say, is too stern. And the problem, I think, with Lisa Ray is she has the same style of communication no matter where she is. The way she communicates, and that's probably, like I said, when you talk about what is your relationship with your daughter or with anyone, you got to ask, how do you communicate with that person? Because if your style of communication doesn't make that person feel warm and accepted and it's not inviting, then you're not going to get from that person what you want. It's even like on a job. You got to know like your employees' different styles. If you're a manager, you can't have the same style of communication with every single employee because everybody receives communication differently. The one thing about Lisa Ray's dating style, it looks the same no matter who the man she's dating. And the way she speaks to almost everyone is the same style. It's kind of stern-like. And I can see why she's had a problem dating because Lisa Ray doesn't know how to be flexible and bend to the person she's speaking to. She kind of is like a one-trick pony. And even when she's meeting these guys, she kind of has the same old questions. What do you do for a living? It's quite clear that Lisa Ray's number one thing is she wants a man that's financially stable. And there is nothing wrong with that. But the road that she gets to asking that about a man can be different. But Lisa Ray doesn't have a different road. She always just asks the same old questions. What do you do for a living? She really wants to get deep down into what the person does, what they do, how they make their money. It almost feels sort of like she's interviewing them for a job. I'm almost like when she was sitting there with one of the guys, I think it was David or someone, the IT guy, it was what do you do? And he started describing his job and she was like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like AI because he was like an information tech. Well, I don't like AI. Ugh. It's just a horrible style of communicating with a person in dating, right? To judge a person's job when you first met them. I mean, what if Lisa Ray said, what if David would have told Lisa Ray, I didn't like the role you played when you was in that movie, Players Club? How would she have felt when you're telling someone about your job, your craft, something that you love to do, that you're speaking with enthusiasm, and then the person who you're looking to as maybe could be your mate, the first thing out their mouth is, oh, I don't like none of that. What? So that means if I come home from work and I want to talk about my job, I got to talk about my job to someone who just told me they don't like none of it. People don't even think about the stuff they saying. Lisa Ray is just, she's a bit too stern. She's a bit too stern. And the thing about it is she's a lot older now in life. She's 57 years old, and she should have learned this by now. But I don't think she's learned it. I think what she thinks is it's just easier to just keep being who she is in order to do the adjustments you need to do to sort of be able to go into different worlds and have connections with different people. There are a lot of people out here dating who've decided that, you know what, I'm just going to figure out authentically who I am, and then I don't want to do any changing. And what I want to do is I just want to find someone who likes me just as I am. That is one of the biggest pieces of bull crap anyone has told you in dating, that you want to find someone who loves you just as you are. If you are a person out here trying to find someone just as you are, you'll probably never really partner with a person. And if you do, you're not going to be happy, because there's no one is going to like you just as the way you are. I really hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there is no one that's going to ever like everything about you. So therefore, you can't really go into the dating world talking about, I just want someone to accept me just as I am. Do you want to lose yourself and become a person you're not? No, but what you do have to do is develop different characteristics, different traits, different techniques, different styles. You see what I'm saying? You do have to learn how to develop these things, because that's what allows communication. Like me, my style of communication is verbal. I like talking. I like verbally communicating. Some people's style of communication is, visual. Some people's is seeing things written down. So if I'm trying to be an expert in communication, if I'm in front of an audience, I just can't talk. If I'm at work and I'm trying to be an effective leader, effective communication to my staff, even though I like to talk, I can't sit up in front of a room and talk all day. I've also got to have some charts, some graphs, so I can also communicate visually with those people who actually like visual, learn visually. I also have to be able to have some words for people who like to read. I have to have text written out for those people who like to read. I got to have a combination. I got to speak. I got to have visuals. I also got to have text. I got to do all these things. And there's some people who like to learn by actually doing it. If I'm teaching an employee, sometimes I can't just tell them what to do. I have to sit alongside with them, watch them do it. And also, hey, let's work through it together. Let's do it together. Let's be hands-on together. You've got to learn different techniques to communicate, even if you have your major on. It's the same way in the 5 languages of love. My language of love is actually acts of service, but that doesn't mean that I can just go around and only know about acts of service. I've got to learn that, hey, some people's language of love is gift giving. I better learn how to give some gifts, even though that may not be my love language. I better learn how to do it. Some people's love language are words of affirmation, right? You got to learn how to give words of affirmation, even if that's not your love language. And I think the thing going on Lisa Ray is Lisa Ray knows who she is. She knows what she wants. But the problem with Lisa Ray is she doesn't tailor herself and her effectiveness to fit any of the people. She has the same old playbook, and it's stern. It's stern. In the end, she gets rid of the young guy. The guy, she says, he's just a loan signing agent, and she gets rid of him at the end and says, she ain't a cougar. She not a sugar mama. She ain't a teacher. And she ends up sending them home. He was too young. He ends up sending them home. But she had a date with everybody, and she did what was called a vision board. And she did a vision board because she even teaches vision boards. So she want to be in a leader position with these men again. Goodness, Lisa Ray, goodness. As she went, I I notice little things, the way that people communicate. Let's say, like, one thing I saw Lisa Ray do was when they were all coming into this space where they're going to do vision boards. She tells all the men, take a seat, take a seat, take a seat. Now that sounds very, very minor to some people, but to me, I don't look at it as minor because it's a command. You're telling people what to do. Take a seat. Now, if you want to be inviting, you can say, would you like to have a seat? But when you're ordering people around, take a seat, sit down, I don't think she thinks of it like that, but that's how it feels. It feels like a command. When you start your sentences with telling someone what to do, even though your intentions are to be welcoming to someone, it still feels like a demand. Because then not only are you telling them to take a seat, are you telling them to take a seat where to sit? Maybe they wanted to sit somewhere else. Maybe they wanted to stand. Are you there for their comfort, or are you there to tell them what to do? And that's kind of how I look at Lisa Ray as. She kind of, like I said, she's stern. She gives a lot of orders. I really don't know who she pairs up with, because in one way she wants this man who is a leader, who's confident, who's strong. But in another way, she's so strong that a lot of times people don't want to have to fight that energy all the time. They really don't. I don't know why she hasn't learned this. She's 57. She should have learned this by now. She should have learned how to adjust her technique by now. I know she's from Chicago, and a lot of people always say, well, I'm from Chicago, I'm from New York. That doesn't matter. You have access to everyone around the world. Like I said, it doesn't really matter where we are, where we start, and what our nature is. We also have to, at one point, evolve beyond our nature. If we all just acted off our nature, do you know how crazy the world could be even more, right? People act as if it's my nature, so I can't do anything about it. No, there's a lot of things you can do about it. That's like dieting or anything else. It may be what your body wants, what your flesh wants, but your mind has to be stronger than your body. So if you have an abrasive tone because you're from New York or before you come to Chicago, then you need to retrain yourself. You need to retrain yourself. That is if you want to integrate with other populations. Now, if all you want to date is people from your region that understand whatever tone you have, then do that. But don't come out into the dating world from a place where you go, oh, well, this is how we communicate in New York, and then want to date someone from the West Coast or from the South or from the Midwest. No, you can't do that. You've got to learn to adopt to your environment and where you are so that you can become effective in your environment. It's not because you're trying to change the way you are. You're trying to improve your effectiveness. And K. Michelle, her choice of men really surprised me. She's all over the place. Like I said, she's got Zach. She's got this other man named Afam, which I don't believe they make a good match at all. I mean, he's kind of goofy. He's kind of nerdy. She says she likes that, but I don't get it. She says she's a country person from the South. K. Michelle right now seems like she's just trying to pick a safe guy. She's trying to veer so far away from what she's done and getting people musical artists, that now she's going to the whole other extreme, because what she's thinking is, well, this guy is going to be safe. Girl, nerds dog out women too. I don't know what K. Michelle thinks, that the only men who dog out women are men in the industry. No, nerds dog out men too. You cannot get along with men who are nerds too. You know what? So her way of trying to change what she's doing, I think she's still going after the wrong things. But she likes this guy. I think his name is Andrea, but she's afraid that he's a little bit too much of a smooth talker, too slick. And at first she had him on the chopping blocks, but she ended up keeping him because she wants to learn a little bit more. That's good. I think she should keep him and learn a little bit more about him. Some of these other people that she's trying to talk to, like this new guy this week, his name is Ben from Florida. He's 53 years old. Another person, I'm like, K. Michelle, really? Really, K. Michelle? I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit, not whatsoever. I know she says she's a country girl and all this other kind of stuff, but I don't believe it, K. Michelle. I don't know what she's doing. I really don't. I guess I have to watch the other episodes to see how this turns out, but I just don't believe it, K. Michelle. I don't believe it. And then the guy, his name was Andrea. He asked her this interesting question. He said, how will you make your man comfortable? And K. Michelle, first of all, I don't even know if I like the question. Um, but that's okay. He asked it anyway. And then K. Michelle's answer was, well, she liked to be in charge of everything. She liked to be in charge of everything, and she's trying to lean a little bit more into her femininity, her feminine side, but she can't. So basically, K. Michelle is saying, I've kind of realized what my problem is in dating. I've been told a lot what my problem is in dating and why things don't work out in my relationships. She said, I've had enough experience now to know, but I can't fix none of it. I can't change none of it. So I'm just going to keep coming out here being the same old person, hoping to find a person who likes it. That's kind of what she said. She says, I'm old enough now, had enough relationships to know what my issues are, but I haven't found a way to tame it. I haven't found a way to tame my tongue. I haven't found a way to sort of bottle up some of this energy I have. No, nothing. I haven't found a way to do it. So as a result, I'm giving up on it. And I decide I'm just going to enter the world with this same energy. And I'm just going to keep hoping that I'm going to find someone who's going to accept it. That's what she's saying. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everybody up front, which that's the other part. Why the things K. Michelle says about herself is really, really weird, because she turns guys off before the guys even really get to know her. She speaks kind of like so negatively of her own self, right? She says she's the hardest on herself. Maybe that's why she really convoluted her body so much, because the way she speaks of herself before a person even gets to know her is actually sad. Is actually sad. She really needs to stop walking around talking about that she likes to be in charge and she wants to eventually lean into her feminine, because that's actually not speaking positivity into her life. She needs to start speaking of the person she wants to be, right? And having different answers. So like I said, I really didn't like the man's question, but you can't control the questions men ask you, but you can control the way you speak. So when he said, how will you make your man comfortable? Instead of talking about how she likes to be in charge but she wants to lean into her femininity, that didn't even answer the man's question. That didn't even answer the man's question. What she could have said was, the way I would make my man feel comfortable is I would like to maybe pamper him the way he pampers me. Something like that. She could have said something, the way I will make my man comfortable is first learning what makes him comfortable. What does he like? What does he enjoy? Because that's how I would also want a man to treat me. I would want a man to have interest in me and my likes and what makes me comfortable and what makes me have joy, right? And I would want to return to be reciprocal of that. That's how you turn a question around like that, because that man asking that question kind of talks about he first came out asking, what can you do for me? That's fine. I could do a lot for you, right? But I also want something in return. That's how you turn it around. But instead, what Michelle, I was about to call her Michelle Obama, what K. Michelle did was she went to how she's harsh and abrasive and not feminine. She likes to be in charge. That's the complete opposite of what he said about how you're going to make your man comfortable. That's going to make your man uncomfortable. It was a lousy question, and it was even a worse answer. That's what I'm going to say. It was a lousy question, and it was even a worse answer. And then she put him down for talking about his answers are too smooth. Girl, your answers are too rough. K. Michelle was talking about Andre's answers were too smooth, and too rehearsed. And what he said to her was, I've had to work on it. See, K. Michelle actually put him down for something I want her to do. Isn't that ironic? She told that man, your answers are too smooth and too rehearsed. And what he said was, actually, I wasn't this person before. He said, I was a very shy person and I didn't have a lot of words up until I was 25. So I had to work on myself. I had to learn how to communicate better. I had to learn how to communicate more what's in my heart, because I wasn't very good at communicating that. And now what K. Michelle comes over and says, oh, it feels a little bit too rehearsed, too smooth, because he worked on it. Because he worked on it. When you coming out here in the dating world, knowing what your issues are, your flaws are, but you don't want to work on nothing and you just want everybody to accept you as you are, but you think your method is better. No, don't put him down because he sounds smooth or rehearsed. What you can see is, can he deliver what he's saying? Don't just say, oh, you sound too smooth and too rehearsed, because what if he can deliver on what he's saying? That's what you should be looking for. You shouldn't be putting the man down because he's smooth or rehearsed. Now, if you figure out that he can't deliver nothing he's saying, then there you go. But you are already putting the man down because he's smooth and rehearsed. Well, girl, you too rough and unrehearsed. You rough and unrehearsed, walking around talking about how you want to be in charge of everyone, and you're abrupt, and you not feminine enough. You need to rehearse a little bit more, K. Michelle. When I look at these people on Queen's Court, I really am enjoying the show, y'all. I actually am really enjoying the show, and I actually like the ladies. So I don't want nobody to think because I'm over here talking about these bad dating techniques, because these are some bad dating techniques. These are horrible dating techniques, but it doesn't mean I don't like the ladies. Right now, I'm actually liking all the ladies. I really do. I actually also like that, I don't know, K. Michelle was doing something with London, but so far they seem to be getting along, and I want them to focus on the men and not turn their energy to be about what they don't like about each other. But so far, I like the ladies, but I got to tell you, their dating techniques are horrible. Really, really bad dating techniques. So when they talk about all the ups and downs and pitfalls that they've had in dating, I really can see why. I think they're focusing more on how the men need to be and how the men need to change. But there are a lot of things about themselves, the way they communicate and interact with people, that they really need to change. It's not until you change yourself that you're going to start attracting something that compliments you. Remember, if you are all messed up on the inside, you're going to attract your compliment. You have to have what you want. You have to have what you want to draw near to you. I know they say opposites attract. That's what they say, that opposites attract. But unfortunately, opposites may attract, but they also, that makes a relationship a lot more difficult. So really what you want is, you do want to find a person in which, yeah, you have some things that are not the same. Like I said, everyone is different, so you're never going to find someone that's exactly like you. But you also want to have the qualities in yourself that you want others to have. And when I talk about Lisa Ray's abruptness in her one style of communication, when I talk about London's overly sexualization of her body and herself, when I talk about K. Michelle and the way she describes herself in a negative light to people she's just meeting, they need to change all this. If they really want to be more effective in the dating world, they need to change all these things about themselves first. And they're older women. They're not 20 anymore. They're not 30 anymore. They need to get with this change as soon as possible if they really want to find all that love they want in their life, and they want a smoother ride. That's all I'm saying. But I like the show and I'm enjoying the show. We definitely slow walking this series. We slow walking it. But hopefully y'all will keep coming back and going through it with me, even though you've already seen it. So at the end of this episode, Dr. Elon went home, and I think that other guy, what was his name? Adam went home as well. So we'll see what happens on episode 3. But that's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.